I need you to knock some sense into me. I'm sure you can.
Yeah, I don't know.
I enjoy listening to you. I don't always agree with everything.
All right, enough of this persiflage.
So, you want my question?
I'm certainly not going to get myself in trouble by telling you what to do.
That makes great sense. Gosh, that's good.
Did I overwhelm you with words and wisdom?
I've got 7 kids. I feel like I could call you every day.
What? Wait, you're telling me I'm wrong? Disconnect.
Yes, I am, Dr. Ray.
You just need to tune in to Dr. Ray, honey. He's got all the answers.
Am I right or am I right?
Probably.
Now, from the studios of Living Bread Radio Network in Canton, Ohio, the hometown of Mother Angelica, here's Dr. Ray.
You notice that poor woman's fatigue in her voice? I feel like I could call you every day, and it just went down. It wasn't, I feel like I could call you every day. Kind of an enthusiastic, excited to get in touch. No, it was, I feel like I could call you every day. And it was sort of that last breath as it went down. Wouldn't you hate to be around me thinking, man, oh man, it's not only that he looks at the words I use, he looks at the tone, he looks at the inflection, he looks at the change in syllables. I dated a girl once many years ago when I was in college, and she looked at me and she said, "Quit being a psychologist." And I thought, how do I do that? How do I do that? I think it was because we were talking about something and I made some observation. And it was just an observation anybody would make, but because I supposedly maybe sounded smart. I don't know. But speaking of sounding smart, thank you for coming to the show. I appreciate it so very, very much. I'm a little nervous here. I met with my financial advisor yesterday, and he told me this was kind of good and bad news. He told me, he said, I have enough money right now. I could quit right now. This show, everything, speaking, do it all. Just quit. I have enough money to last me the rest of my life. I said, man, that's great. He said, unless you want to buy something. Oh, so it looks like, God willing, I'm here for a while. The number to get into the program, 877. Do you notice I said into the program, not on the program, into, kind of a connecting sort of prepositional phrase? 877-573-7825. One of our first callers right there, she emailed me, and I asked her to please call the show, and she did. That puts her in about 12% of the people that I ask when they email me to call the show if they would. About 12%, and she's one of them. Young mother, so that's great. 877-573-7825. 877-57 is the number to get onto the program. Questions about life, questions about stuff, questions about faith and psychology as they interact, questions about the culture affecting your life, questions about me, I suppose. 877-57 equal. Okie dokie. Does the name Pavlov ring a bell? Ivan Pavlov was a Russian physiologist, a scientist, who did some experiments with dogs. He noted that dogs salivate at the sight of food. He thought, okay, let's see if I ring a bell, then, hence the name Pavlov, ring a bell. Okay, I'm catching you up here. I ring a bell, present the food, usually about a half second apart. If I remember my classical conditioning education, it was the best connection to make a classical conditioning response is about a half second. Rang the bell, showed the food. Dogs salivated because they saw the food. After several pairings of the bell food, only the bell alone could elicit salivation. The bell, through repeated connection with the food, elicited the same response. Pavlov was called the father of classical conditioning. Now, where am I going with this? Is this just Psych 101 for learning theory? No. I think it has a real word application. Real world, not real weird. A little Freudian slip there. Application. Many of you either had or remember the look as you were growing up. Your parents would give you the look. And it would stop you dead in your tracks. There's no discipline in the look. But you knew to obey it. How did this happen? How did something as benign as a look? Now you could say, well, no, that was a firm look. No, it was a scowl. No, it was looking over the glasses. No, it was putting the newspaper down and looking over the newspaper. Sometimes it wasn't even a look. It was Nevertheless, it was all just basic, generic stuff. There was no discipline involved with the look. Why? Why did the look work? Refer, please, to the earlier page about Ivan Pavlov. Classical conditioning. Probably there were those times early on when your parents, or you, because I know a lot of you have raised your children and your generation generally had the look. The newer generation does not have the look, by the way. Just as an aside, they don't have the look. Nowadays, they look at a kid, the kid looks back. What are you looking at? You want some of this? I don't think you want to go around with me. It's kind of what happens. Why'd they have the look? Because the look initially was paired with discipline. Classical conditioning. They looked, they disciplined. After a few pairings like that, the look itself came to elicit the response. It was the warning bell, if you will. And that is why the look worked. Classical conditioning. You or your kids experienced the look or some variant thereof, and you knew that if that were ignored, action was coming. You didn't want the action, so the look was sufficient. My dad used to bounce the look off our heads at Mass all the way down the pew. By the time it hit me, I was at the end of the pew. My two sisters and my brother were in between us. By the time it hit me, it had enough juice in it. I still wet myself. We'd get up. We'd go to communion. I'd come back, stand at the end of the pew, let my sisters go in. And the Italian Catholic ladies at St. Anthony Parish, which was the parish of Mother Angelica in Canton, Ohio, by the way. All Italians had to go to St. Anthony. They all looked and said, see, look at that. Look at how nice he is. I bet he's going to be a priest. Probably skip priest, just go straight to cardinal. Look at him, letting his sisters go in. Waits on them. That wasn't it. I wasn't going to sit through end of Mass announcements and urine. Oh, Dr. Ray, come on. We're eating lunch right now. Okay, sorry. I watched the Three Stooges last night, and I have a little bit of slippage. If you have the look, I'm going to tell you, you are now a minority among parents, and I believe you're elite among parents, because the look substitutes for discipline, but you don't have to discipline. It works. When's the last time you read a parenting book about the look? Think about it. All the hundreds and hundreds and thousands of parenting books and articles out there, I have never come across one that talked about the look. But yet the look was such an endemic part of parenthood for so long. I dare say for millennia, up until the last couple generations. I think the look is something to be admired. And you don't have to scowl. The best looks are a glance. Just to kind of tilt of the head, look over, send a warning. They're getting rambunctious. You're aware. Bell goes off. They start to salivate, and you give them food, M&Ms. The look. Silent but effective discipline. Oh, boy. A lot of calls up there. I want to get to you. Thank you so much.
Today's programming is brought to you in part by a gift from our day sponsor, Michael Rizeppa and Marie Schleppers. Thank you so much for your donation to help build the church and bless the nations.
Now you can support Ave Maria Radio by becoming a day sponsor too. Send anyone a message, a friend, a family member, or a priest, just someone close by. Call 877-288-1077 and tell them you want to be a day sponsor.
Are you walking the path that leads to Christ? We find him in scripture, in church tradition, music, art, architecture, writings, nature, and in each other. My parents planted seeds, and over time they grew. The deeper we grow in faith, the more we see God in everyday life. At least that's been my experience. So what's your path to Christ? Are you reading the Bible every day? If you don't know where to start, open up the Gospels and read them every day for a year. Spend time in prayer, speaking with the Lord. Sit in adoration, in silence, waiting to hear his voice. Treat others as you'd like to be treated. In other words, be kind. Forgive others as you seek forgiveness, and be grateful for your blessings. Count them in the mornings, and before you sleep, examine your conscience and plan to do better tomorrow as you seek out to be the best version of yourself. This has been a Christ-Centered Communication message. I'm Vanessa Denha-Garmo, a communications evangelist and host of Epiphany.
Do you own popular index mutual funds or ETFs? If so, you're automatically owned shares of companies that conflict with your moral beliefs. Ave Maria mutual funds are managed to conform to pro-life and pro-family values. Long-term investors can invest in the no-load Ave Maria mutual funds. The experienced professional portfolio managers make decisions based on investment fundamentals and pro-life values. You can learn more about Ave Maria mutual funds today at 866 Ave Maria or visit AveMariaFunds.com.
I made the comment about the one mom with 7 kids on our bumper music. We said, I have 7 kids, and I could call you every day. And I said, she just sounded fatigued at the end of day. Or at the end of the day, she's fatigued. Well, Marlene, who's no longer on the phone with us, that's why, Samantha, I'll keep my commitment to you. Marlene said, I have 7 kids, and I have no time to call you any day. Marlene, you had to call to say that, you know? Thanks, Marlene. Okay. Samantha, from Iowa, emailed me this morning. She's a young mom. She's got a 3-year-old daughter. And I think, if I recall correctly, Samantha got a little 1-year-old son. And prior to, I think it was prior to your daughter, you had a miscarriage. And you happened to mention to your daughter at some point that, you see how I remember these things? Because girls write me letters. I try to pay attention. That, in fact, you mentioned that, yes, that she has a brother in heaven. And now you're a little nervous. You're a little nervous because you think you might have planted a seed that could get a little complex. Hi, Samantha.
Hi, Dr. Ray. Yes, two girls, not a daughter and a son.
2 girls?
2 girls.
Okay, gotcha.
But yes, a few months ago, and I think this was, my great uncle had died back in October. I think it was in the context of this. I mentioned to her that, she has a little brother, and mommy's belly didn't get big, and unfortunately this baby died. And I left the room that night thinking, oh no, what have I done?
You didn't do anything. Samantha, stop right there. You didn't do anything. Why are you worrying about that? You gave her a very nice, sweet little explanation, and I got to tell you, ain't no way she understood it, but go ahead.
Well, yeah, and I mean, the next few weeks or so, she didn't really mention it. Maybe at nighttime she would, I want to pray for this great uncle who died, and then, we'll pray for my brother, and it was very sweet. But over the last couple months, or, at least this month and, late last December, she'll go to daycare and say, oh, well, this friend said that I don't have a brother, but I do. And she's told her teachers about it. And this morning, my husband called me after he dropped her off saying that she was asking him, well, where is my brother? And so, is this something we just say, oh, when you're older, honey, we'll explain it? Or is this something we should sit down and explain now? And how do you explain that to a 3-year-old?
Well, you could explain it all you want, Samantha. You could be brilliant. Because you listen to this program, you probably will be brilliant. But that said, when you tell her these things, you know it's gone through a 3-year-old screen, and it's not really comprehended. She can't grasp. She can't wrap her head around. Well, wait. If I got a brother, where is he? And what is he going to come back? What about? Well, what happened? It's all this stuff. She doesn't understand that. And what you do, I think, part of what keeps it alive a little bit is, first of all, it's a 3-year-old girl. If this were a 3-year-old boy, he wouldn't even know he has a mother. Okay, so that's the first thing. It's a 3-year-old girl. So they're naturally kind of verbal and curious. And they ask these questions. Simple one-sentence explanation, which is, honey, your brother went to heaven. He wasn't born yet. And little babies who aren't born in mommy's bellies, they go to heaven. And that's it. Now, if you're worried she's going to be all confused and thinking, oh, well, wait a minute, will I die? Will I go to heaven? And all this kind of stuff. First thing you got to do is quit worrying about causing psychological damage. This is just a little kid asking little kid questions. That's all it is. And if she goes to school and some little girl says, you don't have a brother, and she comes home, Tiffany says, I have a brother. You do, honey, but your brother's in heaven. He's not here. And someday, we may see him. There you go. That's it.
All right.
You start getting more complex than that. You start getting more complex than that, and I won't understand you. So don't worry about that stuff. But they're so much more mentally resilient than we give them credit for. And the shrinks have got parents all shook up. Oh, my gosh, Samantha, what if you don't answer her question right? Oh, jeez. When she's 7, she's going to come to you and she's going to say, Mom, why did you lie to me about my brother? I'll never trust you again, and I won't believe in Santa Claus or the Easter Bunny. Life is miserable. That ain't going to happen. And I know you think, why, Dr. Ray's being ridiculous. I am. But you know as well as I do, that little niggling doubt is somewhere in the back of your head going, I don't want to blow this. Come on, Sam, admit it.
Oh, no, you're right.
Thank you. I was pushing on you because I just wanted to hear a woman say you're right. That's right. Andrew, flag that. God bless you, dear. You're going to find out what it's like to live with a woman. That's all I got to say.
Oh, can't wait.
Okay, quick story, real quick. I know there's people waiting. I'll get to them. I'm breaking all the rules of radio. My son Peter was 5 years old. We were out to eat. Petey's adopted. He said to me, Daddy, you were in Grandma's belly, weren't you? I go, yeah, I was. Was I in Mommy's belly? Well, no, Petey, you weren't. You were in another lady's belly. How'd I get there? What do you mean, Petey? You can always ask, what do you mean? No, that's a good stall tactic. What do you mean? We psychologists do that all the time. Well, did I get in there? How? I said, well, God put you in there. That's another thing you can say. God did it. That's a good way to do it, too. Then he stopped and he waited and he said, how did God put me in there? Oh, boy. I'm not talking about the birds and the bees with this kid at age 5. That's not happening. So I said, what do you mean, Petey? He said, did he lay me in there? Or did he just throw me down from way up high? I said, he laid you in there, Pete. I said, oh. He was quiet. Then he said this. Why didn't she keep me? Oh, he waited the knockout punch, you know. And I got on the phone. I was calling my wife because I wanted her to handle this, but she wouldn't pick up. She doesn't pick up. And when I call her, she usually says, how did you get this number? So that said, I said, well, Petey, she didn't have a daddy for you. And she knew you needed a daddy. And God knew I needed a Petey. So he put us together. And then this big truck full of pigs drove by us. And he went, ew! Oh, that really stinks. Ew! And that was the end of that conversation. Never came up again.
All right.
If it was a girl, I'd have heard about it the next day. Thank you, Samantha.
All right. Thanks,
All
Dr. Ray.
right. All righty, dear. Bye. Bill wants to thank me. I don't know why. Oh, I know why, because I got a break coming up in a couple of minutes. I want to thank you, Dr. Ray, for taking a break. Hi, Bill.
Hi.
What's up?
Yeah. Did he tell you what I said?
He doesn't want to give me compliments. No, he just left it as Bill wants to thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Did he tell you what I want to thank you about your servile fear of our parents instead of filial fear?
Yes.
And I think it needs to apply to God, because Jesus never talked about filial fear. He talked about servile fear to motivate us. I think that's most important.
Respectful fear. Respectful fear. That's right.
Fear of punishment.
Well, that's a factor. That's a factor. You don't want it to be your main motivating factor, as the old catechism would tell you. That's imperfect contrition. But yeah, perfect contrition is I don't want to offend God. Imperfect contrition is fear of punishment. But good point. Thank you, Bill. I appreciate that. I still don't know why Bill. I don't know where the thank you was and all that. Okay, what do we got? Here we are recently. Let's go to an anonymous call from Ohio, and I thank you all for being patient. I will get to you. See, we got 3 calls just dropped. They were all there and they all just dropped. Try not to take offense. Anonymous call from Ohio. How are you, Anonymous? Yes.
Hi, Dr. Ray. This is Anonymous from Ohio.
Yes, sir. What's going on?
I've got some. I got a question about my son's girlfriend.
Is she a girl? She a girl?
Yeah.
Okay, we got that one set.
He's ready to propose to her, but he's got a few concerns that he's not sure what to do about.
They big or little?
That's what I want to ask you. The smallest one is that although raised Catholic, she's now attending a Protestant church, and they've told her some things about the Catholic Church that aren't right, but she's actually talking to me about some of them, and she's open to listening with some of the corrections. And I teach OCIA at church, and so luckily I'm able to help her on that. So that's the smallest issue. The next issue is that she's got a graduate degree, she's got a good job, she lives at home, and maybe because of herself or maybe because of her family, the way they've treated her, but she's got expensive tastes. And my son, he's got great prospects, but he doesn't have a lot of income right now, and so he can't spend a lot on her for presents and flowers and gifts, and so she tells him about it. And she doesn't seem very understanding of that. And I've told my son, well, if you guys get married, then you're going to have to draw up a budget, and she'll learn pretty quickly. The biggest concern...
She'll either learn pretty quickly or she'll resist. Stay there, my friend. I will come back. I have to take that hard break. I have no choice. 877-573-7825 is the number. I'm Dr. Ray. The program of the doctor is in. Appreciate your calls. A lot of time left, and I don't know why all those people dropped. I think I can speculate later. Okay, getting back to it. Talking to an anonymous call. Sacred Heart Radio, which means He didn't say where in Ohio, but it's down in the southwest corner, I'm sure. Says his son's girlfriend is a sweet girl, but the son's got some reservations. And our caller said that he thought one of the smaller reservations was the fact that this girl currently does not share the Catholic faith with his son. She's shown some curiosity about it, but she is not involved in it, and she's apparently been inoculated. No, that's a bad word. She's been assaulted. Nah, I can't find the word. But she has been imbued with anti-Catholic stuff. Now, our caller doesn't think that's a big deal. I do. I think that is a big deal. I think that could be a problem. But there's two other things. One is she's got an advanced degree, and she likes the finer material things in life. And his son, not able to supply all these things. And at this point, she's not happy about it. That's big. And I don't know if I cut him off because of the break for the third one. Did I, sir? Was there a third one there that you wanted to put out as a reservation?
Yeah, the third one, which my son perceives, and I agree, is the largest one, is that unfortunately my son is my son, and therefore he is not very romantic. He's got what some people might call a low emotional IQ, like his dad, and he doesn't always say the right things at the right. Well, he typically says the wrong things at the wrong times, and just like me, my wife has been telling me for decades, complaining about that to me, and I've not gotten much better. But she's hung with me, but she lets me know, and so does my son's girlfriend, and she gets very upset when he says the wrong word or he's critical of her, and it's to the degree that she will spend hours with him on the phone, talking with him about how he needs to do better. And
does she spend hours with him on the phone talking? Does she spend hours with him on the phone talking about how she needs to do better?
No, how he needs to do better.
No, I know that. I'm asking the question: does she spend hours on the phone asking how she can do better?
No,
of course
that's
not.
The problem, because
of course not.
He can't do, and he can't say any criticism. Otherwise, she'll start crying.
So, given what you're describing, okay, why? Given what you're describing, and I can't rule on this. Obviously, that'd be inappropriate. But given what you're describing, I can ask. These are some pretty serious relationship problems here. Why is he considering marriage? I mean, there's red flags all over the place from what he's describing. And why does he think it's all going to go away? If he can't please her, if he has to watch every word he says, if he's not the kind of guy that she wants, if she wants much more material than he has the ability to give or the desire to give, if she says, I don't really know if I want to be Catholic, I mean, all of this is big. So what is it where he's saying, okay, after we get off the phone for several hours, and then I'll go out and buy her a ring. I mean, what? Ask him. What is it that's attracting you to this girl, given these things?
Well, he loves her, and she loves him, and she is very sweet. And except for these concerns, my wife and I really like her. She's a sweetheart. She cares about him. When he gets sick, she gets all kind of food and medicines to him, and she's just she's from a good family. She's very religious.
She's not religious Catholic, so that could be a concern. If he wants to remain Catholic and faithful, how are they going to raise the kids? Will she go to church with him?
Well,
see, these are all
yeah. So she's going to church with him, and she's listening to me. We're having great, what I'll consider great conversations. It's hard to have religious conversations with people, but I have been able to have it with her, and she's listening. That's why I perceived it as the smallest of the three problems.
Well, she hasn't committed. She's listening, but she hasn't committed to look back at the Catholic faith. No. Okay, so that's big. It's nice to listen. Okay, well, I see where you're coming from. I'm still not wanting to be Catholic, but I see where you're coming from. I mean, if that's her attitude, you still got that huge roadblock there. But you're talking to a psychologist, and so much of the marital stuff in my office is this kind of protracted, long arguments and discussion over you used this word, you said it this way, you didn't say it this way, you're not doing this, you need to do this. That's scary. And again, I'm not going to tell your son what to do. I can't. He's got to make the decision himself. Perhaps he can wait longer and see how this relationship unfolds. Perhaps he can see if, in fact, she'll look more seriously at the Catholic Church, or she'll be easier to get along with and she won't tell him all the things he needs to change, and they don't have to spend 4 hours on the phone, because that gets real old real fast, if it isn't already.
Yeah, he's exhausted.
Well, I would think. I would think. And the mistake people make is they think when this stuff happens in a courtship, it'll all be better when you get married. No, most of the time not. Most of the time, there's too many other factors that come up while you're married, and if you don't have a certain style in solving problems, if you don't have a certain tolerance, if you don't have a certain charity and forgiveness in your heart, if you're coming to marriage going, well, you know, there's a whole lot of things about you that are wrong, the marriage probably is not going to fix that attitude. So it sounds to me like he's having some real doubts, but maybe he just doesn't want to let this go because she has a lot of wonderful qualities. I don't doubt she has wonderful qualities, but that's not the question.
She does.
But the question becomes the qualities that she does have that are exhausting him, that are making him nervous, that are scaring him. Will they change? That's the question.
So how does a girl get over that? Because like
she's got to want to.
My wife.
She's got to want to. If she sees nothing wrong with the fact that she loves all this material stuff, if she sees nothing wrong that he has to defend himself on the phone for 4 hours as she tells him all the ways he didn't say it right, if she sees nothing wrong with that, then I don't know her. I'll speak from generalities. It's not likely the person's going to change. I'm not doing anything wrong. You're the one that's wrong, not me.
I like
that, my friend.
She has to want. She has to want to. That's great advice.
It took me long enough to get
doctor.
there. All right, sir. 877-573-7825. Got some lines open now because all these people left. You know, my theory is this. Other than maybe dropping from cell phone or having to get out of the car and go do something. One of them is, I think people call with the expectation, I'm going to be next, and if I'm not next, I'm going to go. Speculating. Can't be me. Always wanted to be somebody. I did. When I was growing up, I always wanted to be somebody. Should have just been more specific. Okay, Gerardo has been so patiently waiting, so therefore, we're talking to him. He's calling from California. Hi, Gerardo.
Good morning or good afternoon, wherever I find you.
Yes, sir. You are. What are you? You're at 1039 or yeah, you're 1039, right?
Correct.
Okay. So this means that I'll be speaking to you 3 hours before I even realize what I said. Okay.
So it was quite devastating. My dad confessed to me on my brother's wedding a little over 2 weeks ago. Son, I just don't believe in Christianity. It's all just a bunch of jargon. Christ, Mary, saints, apostles. It's just to control people. That's all it is. That's what control the masses. It's what countries use. So, hey, respect to you, but mm-mm. And I said, well, Dad, you don't believe in hell? It's made up, son. There's no hell. There's no damnation. Like, I don't know what to say.
You did not know this about your dad?
No, he just told me straight up.
Well, all this time, have you noticed he doesn't go to church? He doesn't talk religion? He doesn't show any interest in anything like that?
Well, growing up as a kid, me, my mom, and my siblings would go to Mass. My dad rarely would go. And so, like, he had to work. I understand that. He was a sole supporter. So he worked basically 7 days a week. And should he have Sunday off, he would just stay home. He wouldn't go to Mass. And my mom would take me and my siblings to church. And we did all our sacraments. You know, he paid for Catholic school. But then he told me, son, growing up, your grandmother and grandfather suffocated me in their Catholic environment. And I saw a lot of hypocrisy. I saw what priests would do and other clergy. And I read what the Bible says. And I just, after that, I just dismissed it. So it's like, I didn't have any answer.
How old is your dad, Gerardo?
He's 84.
Oh, boy. So basically, all of his life, he wasn't interested at all in religion. He kept his mouth shut because he allowed your mother and grandmother to give you kids some kind of exposure to the faith. He wasn't going to fight it. He figured, okay, well, if that's what they want to do, that's fine. I'm not going to cause marriage problems. Let them chase their little superstition. But then at age 84, he's just said, okay, it's all nonsense. Don't buy any of it.
Yeah.
Is he open at all to even consider any kind of evidence at all?
Well, I guess you say like my grandparents, his mom and dad were devout Catholics. Not perfect, but they try to bestow on him the best they could. And my father's like, no, I mean, it's like in Mexico where he grew up in his town, he just saw so much infidelity and people being two-faced and clergy not holding up to their standards and you name it. So, and then he said, well, you know what, son? I mean, you know there have been some bad popes. Well, yeah, I know their popes are not perfect. I know. I've heard about them. But that's just man. That's not God. It's not our faith. That's the poor decisions made by those people.
What if you said, Dad, no surprise here, but you're 84 years old, and who knows how many more years you'll be here on this earth. What if there is a God, Dad? Now, you said there isn't any. You've decided that. But what if you're wrong, Dad?
Interrupt you. No, I'm trying to interrupt you. He says there is a God. There is a God, but everything that's written in the Bible is man-made and false. So he just believes in God and 100% mercy, and everybody goes to heaven, and there's no reason to confess sins. There's no hell. That's his standpoint.
So he's pretty much put together his own religion.
Yes.
And which is what a lot of people do. I call it the new atheism, Gerardo. The old atheists make logical sense. If you say there is no God, then you can kind of do what you want, as long as you don't get caught or it's illegal and you get caught. The new atheists are all over the place, which is there is a God, but he thinks like me. And that's kind of where your dad is. He's just decided this is the way God is. This is who he is. Man has perverted God.
Yeah.
I guess I don't think you're going to get him to think any differently. I don't know if he's open to any kind of evidence. There's just boatloads of evidence out there for Christianity being true. Does he read?
Yeah. I mean, his point was I mean, why are there over 30,000 registered Christian churches in the world? You know, it's all meant to manipulate, son. Each church allows its own things. One allows gay marriages, just to exaggerate. One allows bestiality and so forth. So that's why there's so many churches, to make people happy yet and control them.
It sounds like your dad is a thinker. It sounds like he recognizes some of the confusion and the puzzlement that makes people look at Christianity like it's all just a bunch of bonk. There's a book that I like a lot. It's called Handbook of Catholic Apologetics. It's a great book. It deals with reason and logic and evidence as to why this is true. Now, if your dad doesn't want to take on a book like that, there's a book called The Case for Christianity by a guy named Lee Strobel. Strobel is an evangelical. He was an atheist, and he set out to disprove Christianity. And the further he got into it, the more he moved toward it. So it's a book out called The Case for Christianity, and he interviews a lot of people and asks them, why do they believe? Where's the evidence? What is it that can make the case that this is true? Maybe you could ask your dad, you say, hey, Dad, now we got two options here. One, God is either exactly like you say he is because you've declared it, or you haven't looked at all the evidence, Dad. Are you willing to look at the evidence? Now, he'll probably say yes, but I don't know if he really will.
Yeah, because he said he's just had decades of disillusionment with the church and scandals have happened.
I would ask him this question. Dad, why are you saying that something is false because of the people who act against it? If a priest is unfaithful, then he's acting against Christianity. If people are hypocrites, then they're acting against Christianity. You don't judge the truth of something by people who don't live it. That makes no sense.
Yeah,
I don't want to get married because I know 4 people who got divorced. Yeah, well, they went against the marriage bond. That has nothing to do with marriage itself. Maybe that's the fallacy in your dad's reasoning, which is all of this stuff that I've seen that doesn't look like Christianity makes Christianity false. No, all it does is it makes people not live up to Christianity. I would say to him, I'd say, Dad, why would you be so upset at those people if they're acting the way they act? If they weren't acting against something true. In other words, if Christianity is false, don't be mad at them, because they're just doing what they want to do. Christianity is just a bunch of nonsense. But if Christianity is true, you're mad at them because they're not acting according to it. It makes no sense. Good luck to you, Gerardo. I'll tell you what, my friend. God bless you, and thank you for caring so much about your dad. I had a friend when I used to work out of town that her family let me stay at their house on the long nights. And she was an atheist. When I found out she was very, very ill, she was in her 70s, I think. I found out she was very, very ill. I asked her. I said, Susan, not her real name, do you believe in God? No, I don't. Would you even want to reconsider at this point in your life? No. And why not? She said, I'm not going to cover my bases now. This is the way I've thought all my life. Just because I'm getting close to death, I'm not going to turn around and go, oh, okay, I want to just cover my backside. So as far as I know, she went to her death. I don't know what she knows now, but yeah, she wouldn't budge. And I'm hoping your dad is at least nudgeable, but it sounds like he's unbudgeable. Let's take a break.
Saint Therese of Lisieux, the cloistered Carmelite nun, and Saint Joan of Arc, the 17-year-old girl who led the French army and was burned at the stake. Two paths to holiness that awaken the contemplative heart and the warrior spirit. The Therese and Joan Women's Retreat is the first weekend of Lent, February 20th to the 22nd at the St. Francis Retreat Center in DeWitt, featuring Sean Breeden and Elizabeth Jingle. Click the banner at AveMariaRadio.net to register by Friday, January 30th.
We all know the story. After Jonah has preached to the Ninevites, he sits in the shade of a plant, waiting to see what God will do to the city. A day later, the plant is gone, and Jonah becomes very angry with God. His anger is so intense, he says that without the shade of his plant, he would rather die. God's vision knows far better than Jonah's what good or evil exists within the city. Jonah's vision, though, knows only his little patch of shade, more valuable to him than his own life. Most of us, like Jonah, have our little patches of shade, our routines, our homes, our incomes, and when God takes them away, we become angry. We want destruction, even if that destruction might include the innocent. Let them be destroyed, we think, as long as we can have our little patch of shade. GuadalupeWorkers.org.
Strained or broken relationships are a given in most of our lives. Friends fall away, siblings drift apart, children sever ties with their parents, and despite our best efforts, these painful fissures are difficult to mend. Hi, I'm Dr. Ray. If you want to learn how to communicate better with the difficult people in your life and be a more easygoing, more forgiving person, check out my book, How to Get Along with Almost Everybody. Check it out. And all my other books on the store page at AveMariaRadio.net. That's AveMariaRadio.net. Thank you for joining me. Last segment. I want to comment a little bit more on Gerardo's dad. It fascinates me how people can say, I declare there is no God. Or I declare this is who God is. I declare. It's fascinating. It's just absolutely fascinating. Because looking at it with any kind of reason, you'd have to say, well, I declare it, but I can't know if my declaration is right. There's so much evidence out there. So much. Scientific, logic, miracles, Eucharistic miracles, the incorruptibles. So much, if you look into it, that really speaks that Christianity is true. And Christianity as in its fullness of the Catholic Church. Yes, there, as Gerardo's dad said, there's all kinds of split-offs, all kinds of different views of Christianity, all kinds of moral squishiness and an awful lot of traditions. Yes, no question. But they have separated. They've moved off. I'm further fascinated. I have a book called Jesus the Master Psychologist. And in the book, I talk about, I think it's 18 of our Lord's prescriptions for living. Moral living, better adjusted living. And in the last one, I talk about where he says, you fool, this very night, your life will be asked of you. And I talked about how, as a psychologist, the thing that puzzles me most, by far, is people who are older, significantly so, in their 80s and 90s, and still do not look at the evidence. They sit self-confident in a misguided way of their own conclusions. Gerardo's dad spent a lifetime being bitter at Christianity for all of the inconsistencies he sees in it. And I'd want to say to him, but did you ever look at what Christianity is like when it's lived? Like Mother Teresa, she lived it. That's what it looks like when it's lived. Christianity is not what it looks like when other people don't live it. All the folks who said, oh, that's a scandal, I'm leaving the Catholic Church, those priests act like that. They went against what the church teaches. Well, yeah, but what about the bishops that's moving them around? Okay, bishops were wrong. But that still doesn't falsify Christ's teaching through his church. You look at the teaching. Teaching is what makes it true. You don't judge a faith on the basis of people who neglect it, ignore it, reject it, and abuse it. You judge it on the basis of the people who live it. That's what proves whether it's true or not. Gotta go. Thank you for joining me. Appreciate it so much. Walk with God and ask Him to remove your doubts.
For information on Dr. Ray's presentations, books, and CDs, visit drray.com and follow him on Facebook and Instagram. The Doctor is In is a co-production of Ave Maria Radio and EWTN Radio and carried across the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.